What's up, everybody? This is me, Vincent Tseng, the Wandering Warrior. I'm joined by Josef Levitis of Kung Fu Combat, and we're gonna do something a little bit different with the whole Decoding Kung Fu series. As you guys know, I kind of take Kung Fu Paolu forms and decode them so you guys understand what's going on, or at least one iteration of the tactics and techniques. In this case, we're gonna do almost the opposite. We're gonna take an MMA fight, and albeit these guys don't come from traditional Chinese martial arts backgrounds, we're going to point out the portions of the fight where they're actually using stuff that is the same as Chinese martial arts technique or very similar. Kind of show you guys our thoughts and our ways of understanding the fight and how it pertains to traditional Chinese boxing, and maybe even give suggestions where if they were to deepen their skill in particular areas of the fight, where they could actually be utilizing more of these traditional techniques. In any case, you guys know me, Vincent Tseng, the Wandering Warrior. I come from a background of praying mantis boxing with a lot of long fists in there, changxun. And for the last 5-6 years, I've been embarking on a Shuaijiao and Mongol journey, as well as diving into a bunch of other martial arts. Joseph, my friend, has a similar and yet very, very different background. Why don't you tell them about your background? Because this is quite interesting.
I'm Josef Levitis. I come from a boxing family. My father, my grandfather did boxing, and so that's what started me out. So I did Soviet style boxing, and then I switched to Muay Thai when I was about 16, 17, and I did that for about 12 years. And but all along, I was always interested in traditional martial arts, in karate, kung fu, and that's right. And I actually studied several different kung fu styles, and for the last 15 years now, I've been doing Mei Hua Tan Lan, the Blind Blossom Praying Mantis, and some Shuaijiao and Qing Dynasty athletic training. That's my background.
So, Joseph, why don't you tell them what is the fight we're going to be commenting on and breaking down today?
Well, we're going to be looking at Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. And I think it's a very interesting fight in the sense that it actually proved to be rather challenging for Makhachev, who otherwise kind of steamrolled his opposition before that.
Absolutely. I think he even commented himself afterwards to reporters and stuff. He was like, "Oh wow, Dustin, their camp really came prepared," and Dustin gave him a pretty tough challenge. I mean, we watched 5 rounds of what you would think would be a barrage of striking into takedowns and just ending Dustin. But every single time, Dustin got back up and started hitting Islam Makhachev. And yeah, that was not the fight I was expecting when I first watched it, but I was very happy to be surprised.
Yeah. I think even though, like, technically, Makhachev was ahead of him most of the time, and I think he was able to think ahead in the fight in a lot of instances, and I think he was able to adjust better also. But I think Poirier, his main quality is his mindset, where he doesn't quit and he doesn't really panic, like even in really, really bad situations, because that fight could have been finished in round 1. He was in a bad situation for most of the round, and there were other instances where, other fighters would probably be submitted because they would panic, or they'd be just, the pressure is too much, they would give up. I think it's mainly that. That was his main advantage in this fight, is that he was like, nope, not giving up. It's really bad, but we're going to survive this. and we're going to get up and do better next round, something like that. That's what I
Oh
saw.
yeah, for sure. He had the mindset he had reminds me almost like how to describe like Norse warriors, Vikings. They don't believe they're dead until they're dead. So
Yeah.
it's almost like
Yeah.
you're fated to die when you're fated to die. Anything else is really just something for you to overcome. And he had that kind of spirit about him. Whereas with Makhachev, it was interesting. It was almost like watching it was watching a fighter come in with a game plan and be like, okay, it almost worked, but it didn't. Adjust again. Almost worked, but
Mhm.
it didn't. Adjust again. Boom, and until he finally got him, which goes to show the kind of spirit and preparation that these guys have in their training. It's pretty commendable. So why don't we get into it? Round one. What did you see in round one that really interests you, especially from the standpoint of traditional martial arts, but in general? Round
Yeah.
one.
Well, um, what I saw was okay. It started out with Makhachev landing like a combination, like basically like a boxing combination, like couple of 1-2s. They kind of went a little bit elliptical like this, not straight, like interesting,
Mm,
like a really um long cross, like a little curve to it, something like that. Anyway, so he lands that and immediately goes into like a double leg and takes him down, and that's basically with like a little inside trip finish, which was
yep,
interesting,
yep.
like
Yeah, that
a
inside
kind of,
trip
what would you
in
call it, like
Shuaijiao is
a
called
hapalo.
里刀钩
Lidalgo, yeah.
inside knife hook. One of my favorite moves, actually.
Yeah. So what I noticed though is that then the remainder of the round is Dustin just basically, showing his resilience. He's just basically, surviving, not panicking. Okay, fixing things, moving, and that's the round. But I think to me the most interesting moment was how it started, which is, and it goes throughout the fight. It's a difference in footwork, because we see right before that combination, you can see, if you pay attention to Makhachev's rear leg, his rear leg is set up. It's ready to bounce. It's I think he probably got it from his whatever his experience in Sanda must have had, some Russian boxing, Soviet boxing in it, which is, we noticed that throughout the fight actually. Dustin is kind of a little bit flat-footed when he fights, and he wants to fight up close. He wants to hit the body and things like that. His defense is more moving the body and Philly shell type thing, which did not really work for him there. While Makachev's style is in and out like this, but it
Mm-hmm.
not in a classical boxing way. He doesn't bounce too much, but there's a little bounciness to it. Like he's waiting for it. He's backing up, and his rear leg is ready to propel him forwards when the attack actually is, of the other person is ran out of energy, right? It's he feels that and he surges forward, whether that's a
Mm-hmm.
takedown or striking. In this case it was striking, and that's why he was able to land, because Dustin, being a little flat-footed, wasn't able to get out in time, and he got hit with a couple of punches, which I think set up that whole combination with the trip and Lita go. So I I attribute that to his uh, significant time he spent doing Sanda. Uh, Sanda in Russia is very much Soviet boxing based. It's a little different than Chinese Sanda, the way they train. While I noticed Chinese athletes, they move Taekwondo style a little bit sideways. The Russians move linear like this, right? Back and forth. So that's what I noticed, and similar technique is present for example, Sinishan, where they propel themselves off of the back foot forward. Luchet Tanan, very similar. It's linear, and you shuffle back a little bit and then straight forward. You sprint forward, kind of. That's what I noticed.
I think also philosophically, he fought in a very TCMA-esque strategy in the sense that whenever the opponent gives way, he fills that void with violence, whether it's with a fist or the takedown.
Right.
And while yes, that's true of fighting in general, that's not true of every kind of fighting. That's very true of, say, many traditional Chinese martial arts, right? That pressure allows you to basically stay safe, right? Dustin Poirier is worried about getting hit. Oh shit, he actually hit me. He can get the legs now, right? Granted, maybe there's not a grabbing, trapping, but the pressure, the concept of pressure and how Makhachev is using it is very reminiscent philosophically to a lot of the stuff you and I have trained. I suspect he probably got more of the base attributes for it from his wrestling, and then use that with the Soviet school in Sanda that you're talking about. And I think regardless of what was the bigger contribution here, whether it was more of the striking stuff or more of the wrestling background, it's beautiful to see, because from a space-taking perspective, I think he did a much better job taking the space and filling with his pressure. Whereas Dustin Poirier, to me, almost felt like, you probably remember this better than me, but in America, especially in the 90s, it was a very honorable thing to step outside of the bar or outside of the concert hall or outside of wherever and just square up and fight, right?
Yeah.
And it almost seemed like Dustin was looking for that. And anytime he got Islam to stay there, he could hit him pretty hard. There's no doubt about that. It's almost like Dustin was very good at saying, this is my duel. We're going to square up and fight. And anytime Islam did that, Dustin was at home. As soon as it wasn't that, Dustin was figuring out how to get out of whatever wasn't square up and fight. At least that's how it appeared to me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You know, I do want to say though, round one, Makhachev did something that surprised me, and I wish he did more with it. Did you see him almost clip Dustin with a snap kick? I was like, oh, this is a new Islam, but he didn't keep doing it. But ironically, I think if he had more other skills attached to it, he could be landing that a lot more. Dustin wasn't ready. Dustin just had to, oh shit, and just back all the way out. If you had other things to follow that up, or if you had a better setup for the kick itself, maybe you engage at the hands, paw the hands down a little bit, very boom, crane, launch that kick. Definitely could have done more with it and added another element of danger, right? Because they're expecting hands high, takedowns low, hands high, takedowns low. And don't get me wrong, Islam is amazing at it. But if you have hands high, takedowns low, and there can be a random side kick to the sternum or the face. Snap kick, front kick. Now we're talking even more dangerous. And in this case, a very traditional martial arts thing to do. It shows the potential he had. He just threw it.
Yeah.
He just threw it, again, taking the space that was vacated. He just threw it and almost landed it. Right?
For sure. Yeah.
I just don't think he had the particular skill set built up around it.
I think it also wasn't the plan for this fight.
No. Yeah, but it could have been interesting. So I guess round one, like we said, we kind of started to see the nature of this fight, but maybe we didn't expect it to play out as it did, because Dustin survived quite well and gave his response pretty well. Let's go into round two. What did you see in round two?
Okay, so there was almost an immediate takedown attempt, which Dustin escaped.
Off the kick, right? Off the kick, he tried to kick him, and then he blocked and caught the kick.
I think so. I didn't really think that was super super interesting. He just like he escaped. Mm, it was a good escape. I mean, but then there was an interesting exchange in the clinch where
Oh
it
yeah.
looked like what we call, sticking, trapping, this kind of
Mhm.
thing, and uh, they did this classic combo, which looks in everybody that's done praying mantis knows this
Yep.
play, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of
Hmm.
times that's interpreted as a like a medium to long range thing where you grab a hand, you punch, you know. But here they were doing that in a clinch, like both
Hmm.
actually. Like
Hmm.
he has uh, a necktie. Uh, I think Dustin has. He grabs his hand and he punches, and then they kind of did this exchange where they kind of both did that. Well, it was
Yes.
very interesting. If you isolate that, you could point to that and say, "Oh, here, see, trapping works." It was more like in the middle somewhere, and there was another one like just like that, literally like a minute later. There were two of them. There were two
Oh, okay.
exchanges like that,
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
they have the neck and they're hitting and they're hooking, and
It was interesting to see them take these same exact positions that we've trained in Mantis. Here, hold one, hit, right?
yeah,
This type of stuff. I think if they had done more training in that particular pocket, they could have mixed some of those grab, hit with sweeps, with trips, with things like that. Now, again, that
yeah.
takes a little bit of a retooling of the skill set. I don't know that these guys are masters at sweeping people, right? Obviously, they know how to take people
Mhm.
down in general, but sweeping is a particular skill set within wrestling, within
Yeah,
grappling.
I
But there,
think
as you know,
Makhachev
man, just
is.
you know, there's
I,
tons of opportunities for that in that pocket, and I think it would have been really cool to see Islam pull that stuff off. Now, again, we don't know if maybe he just felt under pressure from Poirier, like, oh shit, he's responding to me, one for one with this stuff. Maybe he didn't feel comfortable doing a sweep right afterwards. I don't know. But the opportunity is there, right?
Yeah, I think they're both pretty good at that. They did that. They both did that kind of thing, like
Mm-hmm.
instantly. So I think uh, uh, probably Makhachev was like not feeling comfortable exchanging there. He didn't want to exchange. He wanted to
Yeah,
dominate.
yeah.
So like if that's something you can do just as well as I can do or similar,
Let me just
we're not
get
going
out of
there.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Why go
yeah.
there? The person has a similar skill set in that department, go somewhere else, if you have something
And
else.
this is definitely something we see in the fight where even though Makhachev puts Dustin in a lot of situations, Dustin is more than ready to sort of mitigate the problem and then answer back, whether in his own way or in that same pocket, like with the clinch and strike. Uh,
Yeah. So another interesting exchange was in round two where Dustin, okay, so Marcus is trying to get a like a double leg or no single leg takedown on him, and he's the way Dustin escapes is like classical escape from praying mantis. We have that in one of the forms. It's called Bakui, eight legs. It's basically considered a kicking form, but a lot of elements in that are not really kicking. They look like kicking. So um, he grabs his leg, so he applies pressure to the neck. He turns around, like facing away from him, and he kind of kicks backwards, escaping.
mm,
Right,
mm.
escaping that, and that's just straight out of a form. You could put it side by
Like
side.
this one?
That's exactly. Yes, exactly like that. Yeah,
Yeah, he did that in round
exactly.
five as well. I was going to talk about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
good
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah. So that's a classical one there. Another thing that uh, I noticed there was a couple of things. So at the end of the round, I think somewhere more towards the end of the round, Makhachev is doing this. Uh, combo. He's hitting with his, I guess, power hand, whatever, maybe left hand. I don't remember. He's hitting, so Dustin goes under that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he reverses it into an elbow. So it's like a classical. We have it. It's in Mikhotalan. It's called um, dunjo. Dunjo. So it's basically a hook. If you miss the hook, if you don't land the hook, you grab the neck. If he ducks under that or gets out of that, you elbow him. Like
Mm-hmm.
exactly that combo. Very interesting to see that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think in seven-star mantis, because they tend to favor a longer longer range
yeah,
before you bust in for a throw and then get back out. And so
yeah,
because of that, that same thing is more of a chun sui into a back fist of some kind
yeah.
rather
We have
than
that too. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
This was a little
But
different because it's short. It's
yeah,
like that.
yep, yep.
Uh, so that was interesting. And another thing I noticed is Makhachev has some like body head movement, but it's not as good as Dustin's. So
Mm,
it's a little bit like awkward. He ducks out of the way, leaning too much. Uh, I think that he can compensate that with going on to a takedown from that. But it could also be like a little flaw that could be worked on. From the boxing
mm,
perspective, that's not good. I
mm,
mean,
mhm, mhm,
like he's in and out is okay. It's good. Like that in and out movement. But when he starts doing the body head movement, it looks like very very much like the person who just started boxing, basically. That they do that a lot. They lean too much. They're like, oh, punch is coming. Ooh, lean really low.
yeah,
Make sure to
yeah,
get out.
yeah.
That could be like a
Yeah, I think
exploited.
that kind of speaks to how do I convey this? Um, I think there's optimal versions of doing things, and anything in between is kind of potentially a mistake, or at least it could get you hurt, right? So if you're going to
Yeah,
rely on purely in and out to protect you, that is a way to do things. If you're going to stand in the pocket and rely on slipping, then he's got to get a lot more precise. And if he's going to use
yeah,
his arms to mitigate these threats in a more wrestling or traditional martial arts fashion, then he's got to do that. But if you're kind of doing sloppy handwork or sloppy slipping or sloppy in and out, that's where you
yeah,
get caught. Any of those three are good ways to do things. But the weird in between where you're not quite doing it well, I mean, that's where people get knocked out, right? So,
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean that's something that future opponents might want to look at. uh,
yeah, for sure. For sure.
But another trend that started, I think, for me in round two and continued on throughout the fight is the clinching, where Makhachev is trying to clinch up and knee. And the way it looks to me is that he picked it up from Thai boxing. It's not
Mm,
necessarily anything else. I don't think it's Sanda. Um, so I mean, he clinches up properly. His like elbows are tight. It's a good grip, and he's trying to knee, but I think he's missing an element there, which showed throughout. Like he landed one good knee there, like in the second, like in the third round, like you said. But in the second round, like he goes straight in with that knee. He tries to knee, uh, and like it's a very common mistake. He's trying to when you get the knee, you kind of go immediately. You can't wait there. Like it doesn't matter if he has the defense. So you either go or you create an angle. Then you need to pull person to the side or step to the side and create an angle at which your knee will penetrate. You need to do something. You can't stand and do knees. That it's not that that doesn't work like that. Dustin immediately takes advantage of that because that knee doesn't land in the second round, and he punishes his body immediately. And that's the story that repeats for the next several rounds, where as soon as he does the clean, he clinches up, Dustin rips to the body like really hard. And I think it was taking a toll. I think Makhachev was bruising heavier the next round because of that. And in every situation like that, I think that was what the effect was. He was like really he was getting to him with the body punches. That was a good strategy.
That's a good point. And personally, I look at knees similar to the way we might look at chow or in Mantis boxing, or maybe sweeps, as most people know, kickouts, sweeps, and things like that. You can do it almost like a shock thing, where as soon as you lay hands on somebody, boom, you kind of tilt their shoulders, boom, kick out their legs, and you're in, right, and they're down when you're sweeping. Same with knees. As soon as you get a rip, bang, hit them. Or like you said, you have to bring them into those weak positions, maneuver them into the path of the knee, right? And we saw, interestingly, although Makhachev has very, very good wrestling, and I know he's physically more than capable of doing this, he probably just hasn't had the very knee strike specific tooling in his training, where he's using those grappling skills to move, to wrench people into position to smash them with those hands. It's not that he doesn't have the power or the attributes.
Yeah,
it's just he didn't quite utilize that skill, right? Because just like with sweeps, you move people in this position as they're about to step, boom, right? With a knee, very similar. You move people in a position, and as their body gets bent a certain way, bang, there comes the knee, right? It's actually, in that sense, kind of similar, the way you have to move people. And we didn't really see him do that. Now, yes, jumping into round three, he did, just grab, boom, and send a beautiful knee right at Dustin. It hits. But I think he could have been doing better with the knees, like you said, all along, if he kind of like cinched in that tool set. And that's something that, whether it's Muay Thai or Mantis boxing, it's a big, the management of the posture and the torso. It's a very big component, right? I think he could have unbalanced Dustin a lot more, put him in bad positions and knee him, rather than kind of like grab the heavy bag, grab the heavy bag and then go. It's like, no, that's not how you use knees,
Yeah. I mean, it's an exercise. I mean, it doesn't. People move around. That's a problem. They move around. So I think actually the knees would be a great tool, and I think they probably planned this. This is because he attempted that numerous times against Dustin, because he's flat-footed. Like when a person doesn't move, he's okay with clinch. Because that's his style. He stays in the pocket. He doesn't mind staying there. It could be really bad for you, like if you let somebody grab your neck. I mean, that's when I was doing Muay Thai, they were like, no, you can't do that. You can't let anybody do that to you at all. Like you can't stay there and see what happens. Like nothing good is gonna happen. You gotta clear that first, and then you work. You can't work from there. Like you could, but it's like troubleshooting. It's not good. It's not a position you want to end up in. So, and Dustin doesn't mind, because he thinks he can, box from there, and he did.
Because I would argue there was a sort of a competition of skill set within close range pocket, and to me it seems, although Makhachev has the attributes to have dominated that, he didn't necessarily employ them technically as well. So Dustin just getting an arm off and just bomb, going to the body was very effective. And Dustin can hit. He had the more fine-tuned answer, even if I feel like Islam could have done really well, because I think Poirier had a weakness there. Islam just didn't have the the specific training to exploit it better. But he exploited other stuff just fine. I mean, when we go into round 3, other than that first knee he lands, I did notice that he was able to land what we call circle punches, right? He was able to land more of these shots on Dustin, which classically we think, oh, a boxer coming with straight lines, how are you going to get away with that kind of thing? And yet, Islam was landing those on Dustin. Obviously, a lot of people going into modern MMA, American style MMA, a lot of their striking is based on Western boxing. And oftentimes, outside of specific countries, it's more one of the more American styles of doing things, right? And, they tend to throw their hooks a particular way. I thought it was interesting that Makhachev was using these more long looping style strikes. It was interesting because he was keeping them a little bit more linear than some of the big guys do. Like Derek Lewis, he just bing, right, and then he hits you and you're dead. Obviously, Makhachev doesn't have that kind of mass, but he's also not fighting that kind of fight. He's using them and getting into Poirier's space successfully using these looping strikes, but still keeping them somewhat more straight. This is nothing new for me, you and I. Mantis Boxing has already taught us how to do that, no problem, right? And there are some boxers, Western boxers, that do similar things, kind of breaking the norm. But what I think was interesting was that Poirier knows how to cover, but he was still getting hit. And I noticed what I liked was Makhachev was like in and out, right? But also has like slight angles on Poirier. So what looks like a looping strike, if you were square onto him, isn't anymore when he's at a slight angle. It's actually it's actually almost straight. It's just going around the arm.
Yeah.
You and I both know this because it's like, oh yeah, that's just how you use it. But Poirier obviously didn't know that.
No.
Because he was getting hit.
Yeah. I think it's where the Philly shell kind of fails. These kind of punches, they sneak in there. And Dustin is not strictly a Philly shell guy, but he's using it in transitions a lot. Like he goes into it when he feels he's being pressured.
Yeah.
So when he's going back after his combinations, he often does something like that. And it doesn't really work with these punches. They go right around the corner. And that's the clip. I actually sent you a clip, I think, did I? Of Roger Mayweather with fighting with Julio Cesar Chavez. And him just dismantling that whole Philly shell nonsense. he's like, no, that doesn't work, my man. it's like just beating him up like in his own way. But it's very interesting that a lot of people have problem with Floyd Mayweather's Philly shell, and it's like, I mean, if you've seen Conor McGregor's fight, he does a hammer fist. And the Floyd looked very perplexed there. It's like covering up like that. Something coming from the top, it doesn't work. Really help you.
And that I think that goes to show. I mean, the Philly shell, especially is like in someone like Floyd Mayweather, is a highly developed guard that is good at a certain set of scenarios, right?
Yeah.
Within those scenarios, very hard to break. But then obviously you just obviously it's not that simple. You still have to be quite skilled, but you need to be skilled at doing something that breaks that, doing something that comes over, doing something that cuts the corners, not being in a straight line against this type of toe-to-toe fighter, right? Easier said than done, right? But we saw even here, Dustin Poirier is considered the better striker than Islam Makhachev by a lot of people, and yet Islam Makhachev is selecting the tools that gets past what is supposed to be Dustin Poirier's strength, right?
Yeah, I mean, if they were just to strictly box, maybe, but it's not boxing. So,
So,
It
and that
doesn't
that
work
goes
like
into
that.
another thing that I've noticed, which is oftentimes in the modern day, a lot of talk about fighting, striking is with Western boxing in mind, which isn't wrong because Western boxing has earned its place to be the top of that conversation. But when you
Sure.
start mixing things up, there's a
Yeah.
reason why Islam Makhachev is finding a lot of success using circle punch, right? Chun
Yeah.
in this MMA setting. And,
Yeah.
well, it's been invented before, and I'm sure it'll be reinvented again because
Yeah.
when you start mixing everything up, some strikes start coming out to the forefront, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Um, I think that punch like that. Like I was not taught that when I was doing boxing, and I learned it uh, from when I was started doing kung fu. Let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily even in Montes like before that. But then I ran into this guy who did quite a bit of boxing, Soviet boxing, but his trainer showed him something similar, like something
Mm-hmm.
like that. Like I was like, wow, that's interesting. Like I thought it was exclusive to Kung Fu, but yeah. Yeah. So sometimes people come up with this stuff. I don't think his instructors know how. Probably he just
Mm.
came up with that.
That said, what else did you see in round three? For me, that was the thing that really stuck out to me. I was, oh wow, he's doing it.
I mean, I've seen Dustin do some great things, escaping and walking Makhachev down at certain
Mm-hmm.
points,
Mm-hmm.
which was interesting. But that's about it. I would actually move on to round four. Overall, we can say that with the entire fight,
Mm-hmm.
that Dustin was fighting more reactively. Like
Yes.
he would react, and he would react really well to stuff.
Yes.
Like he would
Yes.
adjust, but it was like Makhachev was a little bit ahead all the time, thinking wise.
Makhachev was calling the shots, and Dustin was having to react to Makhachev most of the time. I would say,
Yeah,
right?
he's
Uh,
always putting him in a situation where he has to react. So that
yes.
goes, says something about, Makhachev's fight IQ. His
Mhm.
how cool he is under pressure. That he
Yes.
can think of stuff and change. Uh, that's in his early career. Actually, I didn't like one thing about him, that it seemed that it doesn't have urgency. Like it seemed like he's thinking about stuff. And now I see that as he matured, that's actually helping him because
Mhm.
he's calmly kind of thinking on how to adjust stuff. He doesn't rush into it. Oh, I need to finish
Mhm.
it now. He's like, okay, it's not working. Let's do something else. Oh, yeah, that's not
Yeah.
working. Oh, this seems to be working. Let's do more of that. Kind of like that. Like he's very calm, which is interesting.
Yes, and he doesn't rush into doing the thing he ultimately wants to do. He
Hmm.
lets the reaction he's looking for take place, and if he doesn't get exactly what he wants, paw a little more, beat him a little more, try this, try
Yeah,
that, and then
yeah,
try to really get the big reaction he's looking for. And I think that's also something that pops up time and time again in traditional Chinese martial arts, where pressure and control are more important than just trying to beat up the person. I think it,
yeah,
it manifests a little differently in Chinese martial arts in terms of it usually has to do with some kind of arm and body control, physical control
yeah,
over them. But that constant pressure imposing your game, I see Islam doing that all the time. And you're right, as he's matured as a fighter, he's not in a rush to beat you. He knows he's going to beat you. He's just figuring out how to do it with taking the least amount of damage to himself, right? Where some
yeah,
people, as good as they are, they will doggedly do the thing or do the combo, even if it wasn't quite ideal. Maybe you hit, wait a moment, and then go, rather than just bam, 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 right? So I
yeah,
think that's the maturity of his fight experience kind of adding up, which is cool.
yeah. And anybody that fought even a little bit knows how hard it is, like, to achieve that. Because the second you get hit in the face a couple of times or something, you're not thinking straight usually, you know.
Yeah.
So that's some fortitude there.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And I think where Dustin showed a lot of spirit
Yeah,
and good answers and good escapes, what was really impressive, and I know we've said it, but we'll say it again, was that Islam Makhachev could stay cool and keep continuing with the strategy, even
yeah,
despite, I'm pretty sure his ribs were hurting, even despite being, oh,
yeah,
wow, I'm getting bloody in the face. Oh, wow, this guy's a lot tougher than I expected. He's way more prepared than I expected.
yeah,
I have the intent of the fight. It's still my fight, so I better keep up the pressure and keep seeing where I can create cracks instead of feeling urgent, like, oh, I got to finish this fast because he's tougher than I thought, or oh, I got to change up. No, yeah, he knew what he had, and he knew how to keep executing on it, despite getting beat up on some level in the
yeah,
process. That you know the mental cool is awesome. It was really cool to
yeah.
see. So we'll see even more of that in round four. In round four, right in the beginning, within like first 20 seconds, I think. I will give Dustin this. He gave Islam a what Tan Pui calls 侧拳 side fist from sort of like a southpaw posture. He comes in like boom, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Covers, and it's like for a split second, bing. It's like a move from Tan Pui, but it kind of like interrupted Islam's whole flow. And I was like, for that second, I was like, oh, maybe Dustin's going to start, interrupting Islam and changing the game, but it doesn't happen. That said, he used a cool move.
Dustin was trying to walk him down. In some cases, he was successful, like in round three, by the way, right? And what Makhachev did, I think, instinctively, and it prevented that in a number of times, is what we call a check hook. Like after his combination, he throws a left, like a front hand check hook,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, and that stops your opponent from immediately pursuing you.
Yes.
Usually, or gets hit with that, by that. That's even better. Uh, which I found to be very similar to, how we have the closing door kick at the end of a lot of like
Yeah.
combinations.
闭门腿, Yes.
Right. So that's kind of what the purpose of that is, uh, except that it's also in the combinations. A lot of times it's followed by a check hook
Oh yeah. Yep.
also. So it's like a closing door kick, and then it's like it's
Mm-hmm.
followed by this check hook, and that's a great combo. I mean, it it didn't connect. It didn't cause significant damage, but it stopped that momentum that Dustin had in a lot of cases. So
Mm-hmm.
I really like that.
I think in addition to that, uh, when he threw, how he threw it, and different varieties. So there's the check hook that you're talking about. There's continuing to use those sort of chun shui, circle punch,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
also the folding elbows. Now Dustin threw some elbows too, but
yeah,
what I noticed, again, this is reactionary. What I noticed from Islam was that there's a common theme here. He goes in, if it wasn't completely successful, he throws a somewhat circular thing, slightly off lines, off angle, and he's catching Dustin, right?
yeah,
He's catching him. It doesn't matter if it's this range, this range, this range. He's
yeah,
catching him, right? Or if he's not catching him, he's preventing Dustin from like regaining his own momentum.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so again, that speaks to the pressure, right? It's exactly what you're saying, but he's doing it at basically all ranges of the hand, which is like,
yeah,
so that tactic or that strategy that's in him, and he has the different tools to act on it.
yeah, for sure.
Really kind of tamp Dustin down. Like, oh, round three, you want to try to walk me down? Okay, round four, I'm keeping you down, right?
Yeah,
Maintaining that
yeah,
pressure on you.
yeah, yeah.
Again, Dustin's still responding in kind. It's not like he's ever stops being dangerous.
No, He had some good body shots in the clinch, a bunch of
Yep.
stuff. Elbow somewhere there, I think.
Yes, but he
Uh,
didn't manage to do it like strategically in a way that takes back the fight or anything like that. It was still Islam's fight.
he was behind because he was constantly like led in to situations. Like he
Yes.
wasn't creating situations; he was responding, which is fine. I mean, you could catch somebody like that and just knock him out. That happens too, you know.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
it didn't happen, but um, actually, I think he landed like a really good left hand there on Makhachev one time,
Mhm.
but it
Mhm.
didn't really have the effect that he hoped for, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and also if that's the strategy, if the strategy is let's try to KO him on his way in, you have such a small window, and because Mahachev's
Yeah.
sense of spacing is getting better and better and better,
Yeah.
he's going to ensure that that window gets smaller and smaller and smaller on you. You know.
Also, uh, counter striking with the wrestler is is very dangerous. You miss
Mhm.
and then you down. That's it. You down for the rest of the round, or maybe
Yeah.
you finished. That's it.
Yeah.
Like we've seen the opposite of that in Peter Yan Dvalishvili fight, where Peter Yan wasn't waiting to counter. He was pressuring him with punches.
Mhm.
It wasn't letting him wrestle. Of course, there's the great
Yes.
wrestling defense he himself is a pretty good wrestler, you know. Uh, but it was like he wasn't waiting to counter. He was just like going forward, forward, forward. Putting pressure on
Yeah.
him, not letting him do
Yeah.
anything.
I
Uh,
think I think that's why I was a little disappointed. Because in round four we saw Dustin go boom, right, and kind of temporarily disrupt Islam for just a moment, and it's like I think even if not that specific move, he needed to do more of that throughout the entire thing. Stop letting Makhachev kind of like maintain more and more pressure. You have to disrupt
yeah,
him and then keep him disrupted. Easier said than done, obviously.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't
Um,
letting him do that though. There was a great tie-up exchange where I think Makhachev was holding him, like hitting him in
mhm,
all kinds
mhm.
of angles. That I love because it's the principle of Jan Chui, grab and hit, which is
Yeah.
bread and butter of Chinese northern systems and particular brain mantis. That was
Yep.
great. Anytime I see that, I like. So
Honestly, it's also a staple in at least some southern Chinese martial arts too. In Taizu,
yeah,
in my third form, we got a move where you literally someone's grabbing your sleeve, you do a grip break, you strip it
yeah,
off, you grab them, and you hit them, bang. Which you
yeah,
think, oh
yeah,
yeah, of course. Someone tries to grab you, you break their grip, you grab them, you hit them, done, right? And it's cool to see him using exactly that, but obviously it's slipperier. They don't have clothing and all that stuff.
yeah.
Anything else you want to add for round four?
Not really. Not really. That's
Okay,
about it. Yeah,
so let's get into round five. What do you think of round five?
yeah. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff there. I mean, this was very interesting round. First of all, there's a very nice classical kung fu combo that is in the very first praying mantis form bang bu, uh, where Mahuch, so Poirier is trying to do a 1-2 basically. He's going in, but his 1-2 also I gotta say his 1-2 is not a classical 1-2. It's not da. It's
Mhm.
da. It's like two
Yeah, yeah,
separate
yeah, yeah.
punches. He doesn't throw these ba bam, like a classical ba bam,
Mhm.
1-2. It's like da, two separate things. So he's trying to do that, and Makhachev uh, he's didn't get him with a first punch. So and Makhachev extends his front arm and
Mhm.
puts it on his shoulder, on his of his power hand,
Hmm.
like this,
Hmm.
stopping him from actually throwing the hand. It's
Yeah.
so it's so classical kung fu, you know,
Oh
like
yeah.
that. It's opening move of the form. It's like, and then you
Yeah.
punch, you know. So
Yeah.
it's right there. It was very interesting. I like that a lot. Then I also saw there was a really cool moment where Dustin is also adjusted, Makhachev is trying to catch him again, catch his neck, and maybe punch him or knee him something. He's trying to get that, and he just pushes him off like this, like one
Mm-hmm.
hand on the armpit, the other one on the other side,
Yep.
and he just basically just does that, which is
Oh,
Xuan Jia,
you see that
double
everywhere in
palms.
yeah, you see that everywhere in like Taizu based styles from the south, boom,
Yeah,
right? Someone tries to grab you, bang, misaligned,
it,
boom, right?
it's
It's
literally
it,
Sanchin, or
oh yeah,
Sanjan. Yeah,
karate, Taizu, Sanshin stuff, boom.
it's
It's
that.
right there.
It's also present. That technique is present in praying mantis. There's a form called Shuai
Mhm.
Lu, and there's a actually move that goes like this. It's meant to push somebody away who's trying to clinch up with you. It's
Mhm.
literally what it's for, and
Yep.
it was I like that, and he's doing it a couple of times I think in a round. That was very interesting, and of course, I guess the finish of the fight. I mean, this is a very classical stuff for Kung Fu Shuai. I mean, he does a bao tui, a single leg, which he
Yep.
finishes in what we call the baseball swing finish, but
Yep.
it's so typical for kung fu. You know, it's expressed in a lot of different ways in kung fu forms, and sometimes it's like this,
Yep.
or
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
It's everywhere, or like whatever. It's all the same
Mhm.
move. It's basically just you catch the leg and you whoop,
You swing
swing it
them.
up,
Yep.
and the person
Yep.
falls. That's a. I mean, I know that it's in freestyle wrestling, of course, but we have it. So,
Yes,
uh,
and the way he did it, because this isn't a freestyle wrestling match. The
yeah,
way he did it was very kung fu because boom, both stands, and then he's in on top of the guy, right? He's not.
yeah,
He basically did it in a way that to us is very textbook. There it is. There's the
right,
TCMA, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it for us is very validating, cool to see, and I think that's also another element to the fighting that um, people don't always have in mind when they talk about MMA. It's like, yes, you know, there's aspects of traditional martial arts that might not work as well because there's no clothing and whatever stuff. But if you want to get side control or get hammer fists on somebody after you put them on the ground,
yeah,
getting their leg and driving them down with your shoulder isn't always the best way. Getting their leg and swinging them so they go sideways on the ground in front of you puts you in the position to go knee on belly and start hitting them, start hammering their jaw, right?
yeah,
So
for
even
sure.
when we talk about what kind of follow throughs on throwing techniques should be used in MMA, some of these more classical traditional martial arts ways of throwing actually end you up with a better striking finish position.
Mhm.
They might not be ideal for freestyle wrestling because of pinning and things like that, but they are
Yeah,
ideal if you need temporary moment to get in there and hurt someone's jaw.
yeah,
Different goal, right? I'm not saying freestyle is bad; they're extremely good at what they do, right?
awesome.
It's just a different scenario. In this case, the more kung fu way of doing it is the perfect tool. Again, Dustin pulls
Yeah,
out that very classic kung fu style, takedown escape, right, where he kind of like
yeah, yeah,
pulls and gets out. It was like when I saw that, I was like, bang, right there, because he didn't he got his leg caught, but he's not going to go straight to BJJ. He
right,
knows he'd rather stay standing. And as soon as
yeah,
you say there's grappling and I'd rather stay standing, you're going to do more TCMA looking things as your solutions, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Kind of cool.
And I mean,
Kind of cool.
the finish itself is a guillotine to going to the R stroke, I guess. And obviously, I'm not saying they got it from Kung Fu, but it's one of the uh, submissions that is present in Kung Fu styles as well. I mean,
Yes.
we got the
Yes.
guillotine, standing guillotine, and
Hmm.
in some cases, the grounded guillotine actually is present in a lot of Kung Fu styles. We got that in bamboo in first Mantis form. At least in our variation, it's one of the moves. It looks like
Hmm.
this in the form. That's what it is, and it's weirdly enough interpreted as an uppercut in some cases. But
Hmm.
why would you do an uppercut like this?
Yeah, I think that was one thing that struck me throughout this fight is that I know Islam doesn't come from a Kung Fu traditional Chinese martial arts background per se. I know he's done
No,
Sanda,
of
but
course.
again, that's a little bit departed from traditional Chinese martial arts. And yet, because he has a wrestling background and he's in an MMA setting and he's trying to weave wrestling and striking together and maintain pressure the whole time,
Yeah,
the choice of tools and the way he used those tools ends up looking more and more like what we know as Mantis boxing. Maybe
yeah,
he's
yeah,
lacking
yeah,
some of the specific trademark things that would make it quote unquote, Mantis boxing, purely speaking, but he's using very similar tools and a very similar overall strategy employed in a very MMA fashion, but drawn from his own background in freestyle wrestling, sanda, and any other MMA training, any other mixture of things he's done, right? But it's like because he's trying to impose pressure, strike into wrestling, uh, the way he's doing it, it ends up looking like Mantis in many ways.
yeah, 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 for sure. I mean, I guess I mean there are uh, optimal strategies that
Mm-hmm.
people will employ where or the conditions are right. You know,
Right. Yep.
and it's sort of it's fairly close to a street fight. I mean, you can do
Mm-hmm.
almost anything, and that's what you end up with. you know,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
an array of things in different ranges and solutions become fairly similar. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. So I think this fight really highlighted certain spaces and certain tactics where TCMA or TCMA-esque stuff really shines. Interestingly, I think if Dustin had been better at um, his rate of fire and his ability to keep disrupting Islam, and if he himself had better uh, clinch and ways of misaligning Islam's body in the clinch, I think he could have done even better because I do think those body shots would add up. It's just that you need to not go one for one with him in the clinch. You need to dominate him in that space.
yeah, yeah,
And I think that's more of an overall strategic uh, flaw or failure rather than um, you know his physical abilities, things like that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think
phenomenal
I think
fighters.
Dustin. I think Dustin. It comes down to skill sets also. Uh, Dustin's got this sort of like an American boxing uh, style. Not that, by the way, not really like modern what they do like now as in every boxing gym, but I mean uh, like turn of the century pre World War II American
Mm,
boxing, which is kind of like we're gonna get in the center of the ring and we're gonna see what's what. You know.
Yeah, that's how they used to talk back then too. You're gonna step with
Yeah,
me. I'm gonna see what's what. They got still got a cigarette in their mouth too.
they were tough people. You know, it's just different kind of mentality. Just like not looking to outsmart you here or anything. Just gonna get in the center of the ring and punch really hard and yeah, back out of the way of some of your punches, but I'm not running. I'm not running. I'm not moving. You know, I'm gonna walk you down if I can, and we're gonna just ram our heads together.
Mhm,
Yeah, that plus some BJJ, like not some
mhm,
really high level BJJ. I think So
mhm,
that's his tool set. It's just those two things, really. Like I understand he's got like a low kick. Uh, you know that's about it. He doesn't have kicks. He doesn't have a clinch. He doesn't like Muay Thai clinch. He doesn't have the freestyle wrestling, uh, or judo. Uh, there's no taekwondo karate background. He doesn't kick. You know, so it's these two things that he does really well, and he has a lot of heart. Like
mhm,
he doesn't give up. He doesn't panic. He's like, okay, I'm getting my ass kicked. That's fine. You know, let's keep going. you know, um, while Makhachev, I think, has an overall just more diverse background. He has the sanda. You can see that because his
mhm,
transitions, his when he's catching kicks, his transitions are smooth. Like not like it's not like Habib's, for example. Like, although
mhm,
they do come from that school, okay, but that shows against the fans. That shows in certain you know uh, ways that he's wrestling, uh, but they are different fighters in that sense, because Habib didn't have striking. Let's be honest. Uh, he had you know much worse striking actually overall. Uh, this guy he has a bit of like in and out like Soviet style boxing, sanda, obviously sambo and judo and freestyle, and has the finishes, which I attribute mostly to his BJJ. Sambo, but BJJ, I think. Yeah, I think he's done serious work on that. Uh, so that's a lot more ways to win. On top of that, I think because of how diverse his background is, his thinking is also more complex. I think he's
mhm.
able to plan and change his tactics as he goes. I think for Dustin, he kind of jumped higher than his usual self. Like he superseded what he can do in that fight. He done much better than anybody expected. But for Makhachev, he must have been a little bit surprised by that, but he didn't panic either because he could. I mean, you could panic and you see that stuff is not working. You know, uh, so he kept adjusting all the time. From round one to round five, he's constantly changing stuff.
Yeah, and you know what? I think even just with Chinese martial arts and its development historically, we see something similar going on, right? We see, for example, systems like Yongchun, Baihequan, Yongchun White
Yeah,
Crane. We see Five Ancestors. We see Mantis Boxing. We see a bunch of these things that try to draw upon many skill sets, right?
yeah,
And each individual fighter is going to take what works for them and so on and so forth. But the body of knowledge is a lot larger. And these groups tended to be very open to cross training, at least within what was socially acceptable in their time and all that stuff, at least
yeah,
within their.
for sure.
You see a whole nother trend, whether it's in the north with a lot of the Hui boxing and in the south, especially with some of the Crane and Wing Chun sort of derivatives, we see people being like, all right, we're just going to be focus on the pugilism, right? On the fistic aspects, we'll patch up some stuff. We'll add a little here and there, a kick here, a kick there, a throw here, a lock there. But for the most part, it's a bare knuckle boxing sort of strategy and theory with some additives, rather than a more comprehensive clinch fight with good wrestling and striking and kicking and locks all in there attitude, right? And so we see these two mega trends in even traditional Chinese boxing. Yeah, you can say there's self-defense, you can say the weapons, you can say whatever, but at the end of the day, when we just talk about the empty-handed stuff, there are these two trends. We're either going to get really good at this bare knuckle way of boxing plus some additives, or we're going to be pretty well-rounded, basically MMA for the street, right?
Yeah.
Often with a more wrestling base, by the way, often with a more wrestling base. And we see that, and I feel like we saw that in this fight as well. We had a guy with a very strong wrestling base and a well-rounded set of tools and strategies. And we had a guy with a much more specialized boxing for MMA, boxing thing with other things that help kind of allow that to stand.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Dustin is supposed to do Wing Chun or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But I do think if he wants that to work well against somebody who's much more well-rounded, has more technical options and ways to win, he needs to be better at forcing people to fight his game. And if we think about a lot of the so-called trapping or sticking in or bridging in traditional Chinese martial arts, even amongst Wing Chun, the more stripped down crane styles that are more similar to Wing Chun, Xing Yi Quan, Baji Quan, they do have other stuff. Ti Da Shuai, they do have the other stuff, but mostly is striking.
Yeah.
They oftentimes have to manage the person's body in a way such that they can keep playing their game. And when they don't, when they let up on that pressure and the guy can reset, you got to start all over again. Now it really does come down to heart. Now it really does come down to cardio. Now it really does come down to how much damage you can take. But if you seize the intent right away and you have the actual tactics and techniques to keep maintaining control of their body and their posture, never letting up, then that, I don't want to say play style because you don't play fight, but that's fighting style does work well. We do see boxers that are constantly using their lead hand to steer people, move people, mess with their guards, right? Lomachenko does it. We see Triple G doing something, maybe not as artfully, but he does constantly keep people on the back foot, shoves them, moves their arm, bullies them. I think if Dustin had been able to do more of that, but in a way that was also a little more wrestling proof with good clinch work to back it up, he might have had more success. He might have created more pockets where he could have knocked out Makhachev. But because the fight could always reset into Makhachev's favor, like you said, all the things that Makhachev has, he can bring to bear. It's more than Dustin Poirier has, right? But we see that same sort of divergence in Chinese martial arts as well. Some people said, okay, 90% fist, 10% anything else. And other people said 60, 70% wrestling, and then we're going to round it all out. Both seem to have been successful methods of fighting. Not talking about, boxing, kickboxing, just fighting. Both seem to have been successful methods of fighting, but the only reason something like Wing Chun or Xing Yi Quan can work is if you constantly suppress the other person's body so that you can tee off on them. Otherwise, they're going to get a double leg on you or space out and throw a kick or a punch, and you don't have as many of those tools, right?
It's we've seen this fight play out differently a number of times, like similar situation, like Derek Lewis against Alexander Volkov. He was losing the whole fight. Why? Because of his limited skills. He was getting outstruck, outpunched. Also, if they went to the ground, Volkov has great BJJ. By the way, he finished a bunch of people with a bunch of different submissions, and stuff like that. And one slip of concentration, not paying attention, and that's it. It's just one punch can finish that,
Yes.
for example. Or
Yes.
like we saw that similar thing with like uh, Ankalaev and Pereira, Alex Pereira, fight
Mm-hmm.
two.
Mm-hmm.
Ankalaev has a better skill set for sure. He's
Mm-hmm.
got
Mm-hmm.
Sanda, he's got freestyle, he's got boxing, freestyle, you name it. He has it all. And he did like Muay Thai and everything. He has better footwork, probably, But what happened? you know,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
he walked it down, and yeah, that was very simple, kind of simple, uh, skill set. He walks you
Mm-hmm.
down. He kicks real hard. Like it's not like he's a great kicker. He's a couple of kicks that he, yeah, they can chop your legs off.
Yep.
He's got super heavy hands. That's enough.
And if
And
we
he
think
can,
about again the
yeah,
TCMA sort of analogy to that, Wing Chun, you got a stomp kick, you have a stomp kick to the knee,
yeah,
you have
yeah,
hands. That's
yeah,
like 90% of it, right?
yeah,
You would look at Xing Yi, similar story. Again, different
yeah,
training methodologies, but similar story.
yeah,
Heavy hands, manage, walk, pressure them, chop out their legs with your feet. If you can impose it, it works really well.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you can impose it, right?
If yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. I mean, like we're talking Chinese martial arts. We're not mostly not talking dueling for most of its history, except for like short periods of time. But so I mean, you're not thinking about fighting other professional fighters.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just whatever. So that's good enough. I mean.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of people will quit fighting after getting kicked in the shin real hard.
You know what? That surprised me.
Yeah,
Even my friend Mong, stand-up coach, right? We were
yeah,
sparring. You might have seen it. We did our whole
yeah,
sparring on Christmas Eve on
yeah.
the beach. It was
I saw
cold
it.
day
Yeah.
and all that. Uh,
Mhm.
he wasn't used to getting kicked in the shins, and it kind of took him
It's
out
not
of the
pleasant.
normal game. And
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, I wasn't using boxing style jabs, but I
yeah,
was using Shandong style jabs, right? Kick
yeah,
their fucking
yeah,
legs.
yeah,
And it was enough that it was rare for him to try to impose his game on me during that, our friendly sparring,
yeah,
just because
yeah,
I can walk into him and hurt his legs. I can walk into him and hurt the certainty of his stance, the certainty of his movement, the certainty of his whatever he wanted to do with his feet.
yeah.
Bang, fuck that, right?
Yeah, when you can't walk in on somebody and get close, and you're getting constantly like first of all, it hurts. It's if you're
Yeah,
not used to it, this could hurt a lot. I mean, by the way, if you're wearing boots, I don't care if you're trying this or not.
yeah, yeah,
It's gonna hurt, a
yeah,
lot.
and
So
it divides your attention. Like there's so many combinations, classical combinations in Mantis boxing. We've learned that
yeah,
up, down, left, right. Up. It's like by the time you know what's going on, it's like, wow, my knee hurts, my shin hurts, my face hurts. Oh, I'm on the ground. What the hell is going on? And
right.
especially again, not against professional fighters, not against professional
That's
duelists.
different.
You're just,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, two dudes on the street. One dude does too much opium, and the other one, is just angry. But you're a trained fighter. Bang, bang, bang. It's like having a superpower. They don't even know what
yeah,
the fuck just happened. You know,
yeah, that for sure. Yeah,
because
yeah,
it just divides your attention. You're like, you thought you're going in, now your knee hurts, suddenly your face hurts, and you just got thrown on your ass. And you also know people that don't wrestle, getting thrown messes you
uh-huh.
up.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, totally. Because it's your equilibrium. Also, it's not also hard. Like, I mean, you can fall on your head. That's not pleasant.
Yeah.
Well, you could just knock you out.
Yep.
If you don't know how to fall. even if you know how to fall sometimes, you know.
Really?
That happens in wrestling competitions, you know, people get thrown and knocked out. I saw that in my son's judo practice last year. This guy who's a really good judoka, really good, like a champion level, you know, he was wrestling, somebody threw him, he landed head on the wall, knocked out for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. They couldn't, I was like, maybe you could call the ambulance or something, because he was like, oh,
Oh,
with
that's not
this, you
good.
know, for like, not good at all. Yeah, whatever. So, so he's fine now. He's okay. But I mean, even if you know how to wrestle,
Yeah,
uh,
it's tough. It's tough,
it
and
depends on how you land. You know,
you know, it's like I think it was Tyson that said, you know, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face.
for sure.
Everyone has everyone's amped up until they get thrown. After you get
Yeah,
thrown, it honestly it takes, and this is again, this credit to Poirier in this fight. It takes
yeah,
that much more willpower and spirit to be like, I got physically dominated and toppled down. Now
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
get back up and beat this mofo in the face. Right?
Like getting
Like,
punched is bad enough, but like when you're getting thrown, it's a different kind of humiliation.
it does something to your body, almost like a
Yeah,
very small liver shot. Like it kind of
yeah,
psychologically, your body's kind of like, oh my god, I'm losing, right? Because you physically
yeah,
got smashed into the
yeah,
ground, right?
yeah, yeah,
It's not like this, oh, let's back and forth. It's like, oh,
yeah,
I'm losing this. And so for
yeah.
Dustin to basically fight it, escape it every time, get back up, and just start hitting again. I mean, granted, he didn't control
He's
the fight, but it does it for people
he's a
that don't
fighter, you know.
do, yeah, exactly. For people who don't do wrestling or don't do MMA and combine wrestling in it, that takes a lot of fortitude. Takes a
Yeah,
lot of fortitude because you know you're getting back up to just more of that, and now
yeah,
slightly adjusted and improved.
yeah.
But you gotta be a little retarded and just be like, I don't give a fuck. I'm getting back up. You know?
Or on something, yes.
Yeah, yeah. That always helps too. So,
Yeah.
anyways, any closing thoughts?
I think it would be cool to pick another one and do it again. I don't know. Yeah, this was good.
Yeah,
This was fun.
for sure, for sure. Guys, if you have any suggestions for us for future fights or even past fights
Yeah.
that we should look at, let us know. Obviously, like, share, subscribe, support on Patreon, do all that stuff. Follow Joseph if you haven't already on his Kung Fu Combat Instagram. Joseph, anything else you want to tell the crowd?
Um, well, if you guys where I'm at in Israel, come train with us. You know, we do all kinds
Guys,
of cool
go to
stuff.
Israel on vacation, train Kung Fu. It's not what you expect to do when you're out in the promised land, but I promise you
Yeah,
it'll be a good
yeah,
time. If you're already in Israel, hit up Joseph,
yeah,
and he can show you a good time as far as Kung Fu training. I
yeah.
mean, the handle on the Instagram is Kung Fu Combat for a reason, right? So, anyways, as always, guys, thank you for joining me on my journey. I salute yours. Peace.